Now for the final touches on the bowl to make it an A grade bowl. We're just going to do one or two things, but it's a little bit complicated, so a lot of selecting. Now, I want to make a little edge or a ridge on the top of the bowl so it's not just flat. So I want to select the top row of faces on the bowl. So the best way to do it is to, now if I select the border select and I'm trying to get that top row, it selects everything in view. Okay, so I need to make sure the best way to do it is to make sure that you only see the top of the bowl, but don't go too far, so then it's kind of flat. So select B and grab those faces, and then you'll need to rotate around a little bit. B again, and grab those, and then one more time, a B, and select the rest. Now the reason I didn't do the wireframe is because I didn't want anything on the inside selected, just that outside, so I had to rotate around it and select. So now that I have the top row of faces selected on the bowl, I am going to subdivide it once. Okay, and that's because I want a ridge, but I don't want it as thick as that first row of faces. So now that I have it subdivided, both rows are selected of faces, and I only want the top row again. So I'm going to deselect it by clicking A, and then do the same thing that I did previously. Select the top row there, rotate it around, and make sure you don't see any bowl in the background on the top, above the top of it. Click B again, select those, and rotate one more time, and select those. So now I have that top row, just the outside of the top row selected, and I'm going to extrude that. So I will do a region extrude again, and I'm not going to go anywhere for the first time. I'll just extrude it right on the top, and then I will go and get the scale tool, and I'm going to drag it out by clicking on the white circle, and I'm going to drag it out a little ways, just like that. So now I have a little ridge on my bowl. Okay, and I want to make that slanted a little bit, maybe toward the inside. So I will go to the translate tool and drag it up a little bit. Okay, now it has a little bit of a slant on it, maybe a little bit more. Okay, there's a little bit of a slant. Now on the inside it slants, but then it goes flat. So I'm going to try and slant this inside. So I'm going to select just the inside. If you hit on your keypad number 7, it takes you to the top view. I'll deselect everything, and then get my border select and select the whole inside. I don't have anything on the outside, just the inside. But I don't want the whole inside, I just want that one row because I want to move that. So I will get my circle select by clicking C, and I can scroll in or out and make it as big as I want. I want this kind of big because I'm going to select everything on the inside, and I want to deselect it. So I'll hit hold down Shift while I'm doing it and get everything on the inside minus that one row of faces that I want. Okay, and I also don't want the outer edge because it's already slanted. So I'm going to scroll in, make it smaller, hold down Shift, and get rid of this selection as well. Now if you mess up a little bit and get a couple, that's okay. You can select them again after you're done. Okay, and so I hold down Shift and select, no Shift. Shift after I've selected too many to get rid of them. Okay, so now I've got that whole row selected. I'm going to hit Escape to get rid of the circle select, drag back down, and I'm going to grab my scale tool, and I'm going to make it slanted, and it's really gradual. I need to pull it up real far. Okay, so now it's slanted on both of them. Okay, so I've got a nice slant there and a nice ridge, and deselect everything, and that's my bowl. It's a decent little bowl for cereal. Now, to make it even better, what we're going to do before we take a picture of it, and we'll take a picture a little bit differently this time, but I want to go to object mode. Okay, so that looks a little better, but we're going to smooth this thing out and increase our polygon count by quite a bit. And it's going to take a little longer to render, but it's a small object, so it's not a big deal. Okay, so I want to go up to this panel over here. There's a lot of different tabs here. We're going to use this one with a wrench. Okay, the one with a wrench, and I'm going to also come up here from to this where it says Blender Render. Click the down arrow. I want to go to Cycles Render. It renders it a little bit differently. Okay, so on the wrench, I'm going to add a modifier. So I'm clicking on the wrench right there, Add Modifier, and I'm going to go to Subdivision Surface. Okay, and already it made it a little bit smoother. This right here, the view, this is how many subdivisions we get. It's subdividing the polygons and increasing the count to making it smoother. So the more I increase that, the smoother it gets, and the more polygons we get. The polygon count is right up here, the faces. So right there on 4 subdivisions, my polygon count is 196,000 polygons. Back before I subdivided it, it was only 768. So I've increased the polygon count quite a bit, and I wouldn't go higher than 4 for now. That looks pretty smooth. One other thing we could do just for fun is to put a color on it. In the same spot as the wrench, we have a materials tab, and this is we can put a color on the bowl by adding a material. So I'm actually going to go back from Cycles Render back to Blender Render because that will give me the options that I want. Now I'll select a new material, and down here next to Lambert, that's just the name of the material, the color, and it's white right now, so I'm going to click on this and I can select any color that I want, and it just automatically puts it right on the bowl so I can see what it would look like with that color. So I'll pick a color that I want and just click outside of it, and there's my bowl with the color. So that's kind of fun. There's other options in there, but we'll just do that for now. So now when you have this, and you don't have to have the color, but it's kind of fun, so put a color on it. Put it at about this angle right here. Print screen button is at the top of your keyboard above the insert key and delete key. Hit the print screen, it copies what's on the screen, and then we'll paste it into Photoshop and make a JPEG out of it that way, rather than rendering it and messing with the light and things. We'll just do a print screen, paste it into Photoshop, and make a JPEG out of it that way. After you make the JPEG out of it in Photoshop, what you need to do is open up Photoshop, paste it there, and then you can save it out as a JPEG. It's going to look just like this. You can crop it down so it's just the bowl, and then save it as a JPEG, and then submit it to Canvas.